Hey guys, how's it going? It's iClassic and welcome to another video, and today we are taking a look at the iPhone 6 in 2021. This phone came out almost 7 years ago, and this phone is actually still running iOS 8, which is the original software that is shipped with. And today we're going to be taking a look at whether or not you can still use an iPhone 6 in 2021. So let's get this video started. Alright, so usually with these videos, I like to start off with social media apps because those are probably the apps that you're going to be wanting to use the most. So Facebook actually still works perfectly fine. There's no issues with this app at all. You're still able to use it as you normally would. There's still stories, there's still like marketplace and all that stuff. It's just a little bit outdated because the app is obviously running on an older version of iOS, but I would say that this app still works. For Messenger, I actually don't have it installed, but based on what I've seen, Messenger does not work. Your best bet is to probably use iMessage, which is already built into the app. The second app I want to show you guys, this one's a little bit nostalgic, but it's TikTok/Musical.ly. So back when iOS 8 came out, TikTok didn't exist. Musical.ly was the old TikTok. So basically when you go into the App Store and you open TikTok, it'll actually open Musical.ly. So yeah, really nostalgic there. Yeah, this phone is way too old to run TikTok. The only way you can run TikTok is by updating this phone to iOS 12. But I don't think I'm ever going to do that just because this is so old. It's so retro. Yeah, I'm going to keep this phone on its original software. Instagram also works perfectly fine. It's one of those apps that it's really fast. Like you can see, I'm just flowing through all these Instagram stories, and I'm pretty much able to use this app as I normally would. Instagram Reels doesn't exist either, so you're actually using an older version of Instagram, so it's not that bad, but it's basically what we used to have back in 2014. So it still pretty much looks entirely the same. Obviously a couple things have changed. All the other apps that you see here work fine. Twitter actually doesn't work that well. Snapchat doesn't work that well either. You're not able to get it past the login screen. And Spotify, Reddit, and YouTube. So Spotify works, Reddit works perfectly fine, and YouTube is always going to be stuck on this error loading tap to retry screen. Alright guys, so now let's take a look at the app switcher. So the app switcher, as you guys can see, it looks really different, and Apple actually introduced this type of feature back in iOS 7 I believe, and they actually ended up changing it to the other style, so they basically made it the opposite direction. So you actually had to swipe this way to look at your apps, and the reason why is because it wasn't really that easy to use. Because let's say if you're out and about and you just want to close some apps, you kind of have to like wait for the little thing to slow down before you can start to close all of your apps, and it wasn't really like the best experience. But I don't think that should be a reason why you wouldn't want to use this phone. I think when people see this, they'll be like, oh wow, that's really retro. So it's pretty rare, but if you do come across an iPhone with this feature, I'd say keep it, don't update it, because it's a really nice feature that the iPhone has. Alright, so the next thing I want to show you guys is some of these outdated apps. So back in the day, Apple used to have an app called the Newsstand, which I think is replaced by News app today. I could be wrong, but I know Apple did refine this app and change the way that it looked. And the same thing was with Passbook. I think that app is called Wallet now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's called Wallet. So this app also changed, but it looks pretty similar. It still does the same things that it used to do before, but obviously, you know, over time features do change in this phone quite a bit. So the next thing I want to show you guys is Siri. So Siri actually looked really different back in the day. So you can see here, we'll just do a quick test. What's the weather in Cupertino, California?
It's currently clear and 68 degrees in Cupertino, California.
So you can see Siri still works perfectly fine. You can still do all the requests that you wanted to do. So there's nothing really that different about Siri other than the fact that it looks a little different. Okay, so now let's talk about the Today view. So this is what the Today view looked like back in the iOS 8 days, and it looks different because you don't have like any current news events going on. You just have stuff that's from your own iPhone. So you'll have your calendar events appear, you'll have all the stock information. You can obviously add more content, but you're pretty limited in what you can do. And unfortunately, you can't access the Today view in your lock screen. So that was a feature that didn't exist back in the day, and you can't access it from your home screen either. So So I'm not sure how important the today view is for you guys, but just know that if you are going to use an iPhone 6 with iOS 8 in 2021, the today view is not really going to work. Alright, so that actually leads me to my next point. This is the lock screen. You guys can see it looks very different. It has what is known as the slide to unlock, and the reason why they removed it is because in order to access the today view, you actually had to slide, right? But back then you had to slide to unlock. So now they just made it so that you press the home button. But yeah, really cool feature. I don't think it should be another reason why you wouldn't want to buy the phone. You still have the Touch ID fingerprint scanner, so that's always something good to use. Alright, so the last thing I want to talk about today is Safari. Safari is one of those apps. Actually, let me close this first and show you guys that Safari still looks pretty much the same. You still have all of your suggested apps, but what you are going to be surprised to know is that because a lot of these websites use, new tools like code updates over time, for example, apple.com, even Apple's own website doesn't work on this phone. And it's pretty funny because everything is just kind of cut off. Like, look at that. It's like top of the iPhone 12 is cut off there, and yeah, it doesn't really work that well. Some websites just don't load. But yeah, Safari is one of those apps that's not really going to work that well. So if you are planning on using this phone as a phone that you want to search the internet on, then you might be better off getting something like Google Chrome off of the App Store. Now, speaking of the App Store, you're going to have some difficulty downloading some apps. So the only way that you'd want to download apps is actually if you go into your purchase history. So you'll want to log into the app, into the Apple account that you usually use, and you'll just want to go into updates, purchases, and then all of your apps will be here. And the reason why they don't work is because if you just randomly search up an app, let me search up an app that I know I've never downloaded. I don't know what's going to come up, but okay. And then it should say that this app is not going to work. It's not going to be able to download. Yeah, because it requires iOS 13 or later. So the only way to do it is if you download the app on another iPhone and then you go into the purchases of this iPhone, then it will request an older version of the app. I know that can get really annoying, but that's usually the only way to go about doing this. But anyways, guys, now we have to come back to the final question. Is this phone still usable in 2021? And honestly, guys, this phone has gone through a lot of changes over time. I think the iPhone 6 actually was re-released by Apple a few years later after its original release because it was doing so well in some international markets. So they ended up bringing it back. But this is an old phone that's never been updated because it's still on iOS 8. So I'd say it's still fairly usable, but probably not for your everyday tasks. If you want to get this phone as something that you want to use as like a media device, you want to call up a few friends, maybe FaceTime, or maybe just get a phone to kind of, just have something basic just to make calls and stuff, then yeah, I'd say this phone is usable, but I don't think this is a phone that I could personally use every single day. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.